Sugar Nurtures 2.0 lives within your Sugar Market platform. From your dashboard, you're going to go to Menu, Create, Campaign, and Nurtures 2.0. So this is what it looks like to set up. I don't know how familiar you are with the original Nurture Builder, so I'm just going to pull it up really quickly. This is kind of what it looked like, and it's a little bit, I don't want to say clunky, but it can be a little bit overwhelming to understand. The newest update in the Nurture Builder is going to make this way more user-friendly, and from an end-user perspective, it's so visually appealing and simple to use. It's just going to be a complete game changer to the way that you do your nurture campaigns. So for this one, I've gone ahead and named it. This is just going to be a demo. I chose the folder it lives in. I usually use these for customer marketing nurtures. You choose your description, and down below are 2 new features. So you can allow people to pass through this nurture more than once, which is so helpful if, for example, somebody 6 months ago decided to interact with your website or your content. You put them into the nurture and it never turned into an opportunity. If they were to come back and raise their hand as if they're looking for something that you happen to sell, you can put them right back into the nurture and they can continue down the path. The other thing is, because Sugar Market is so seamlessly integrated to the native CRM, which is of course Sugar CRM, you can sync people into this nurture directly from the CRM, which just removes that extra step of adding them and any kind of segmentation and adding and then segmenting them at the end. So there you go. You can allow them to pass through more than once, and you can allow them to be added from Sugar CRM. You're going to click Save. You're going to click Next. So Sugar Market's done a really great job of creating a bunch of templates that you can use. For the sake of this demo, I'm just going to use a blank theme, but they have them organized, and depending on what you're trying to do or what your company type is, whether you're B2B, B2C, there are some really great options when it comes to your nurture campaigns, but we're just going to start from scratch. So we're going to click Next, and this is where it's going to start. As you can see, it's so much more visually appealing than the original one. I'm just going to toggle back to it. This is where it started. This one, you can move this around depending on how your mind works. So if working from the top down works for you, then go for it. Personally, because I read from left to right like most people, I'm going to start from the left so I can just kind of read my nurture as I go. So for the sake of this nurture, I'm just going to paint a scenario for you today so you can see how my mind works and how I'm going to build a nurture to reflect that. So because my company's B2B, we have a lot of content and assets that people seem to find really helpful. So for this one, in my mind, this is for somebody who has downloaded a comparison guide between softwares, and we're just going to nurture them down the funnel until they can ultimately make a purchase. So this is where it starts. This basically means they have been added to this nurture. So in my mind, this is when they download the piece of content or the comparison guide. Now, when they download it, I'm not going to immediately send them an email. I'm going to add a pause. So these elements up here are separated into action elements and conditional elements. And we're going to get into those in just a minute. So the action elements are send email, pause, add to list, remove from list, update contact or lead in Sugar Market, alert user, alert role, alert contact owner, push to CRM, create task in CRM, create opportunity in CRM, and jump to another nurture. So for this one, they have downloaded a piece of content. I am going to wait one day before I start bombarding them with information. So you toggle in the upper left corner, click on the settings, and you can choose, I'm going to wait one day. I've seen companies, for example, if you work in e-commerce, perhaps somebody added something to cart but didn't end up checking out. I have gotten alerts 20 minutes, 30 minutes after I abandoned the cart saying, you abandoned your cart, what happened? That would be where the hours or minutes would work really well. And that would be an example of one of the emails you can send. So they've downloaded a piece of an asset. We've waited one day. Now we're going to send them an email. You're just going to click and drag, which makes this so easy. The other thing you should know is that in order for this flow to be valid, you have to connect all of the elements. So you're actually going to click on the squiggle and drag it. Click on the squiggle and drag it. you're going to notice that these arrows are gray, and that's because they're action elements. There will be conditional elements that will force you to choose a green arrow or a red arrow, which I will get to in just a moment. The thing about this new nurture program is that you cannot import an email into the template. You actually have to create a brand new email within here. That being said, there are ways to work around this. For example, if you go to your email builder, you create the email just the way you want it, and then you grab the source code. You can actually just edit the HTML and insert the source code so that you create the email that you want. The other option is to just have the content ready and then just copy and paste it in. So when you drop in the email, you have to actually go in, create new, and it's going to open your Sugar Market email builder. So for this one, we're just going to do Nurtures 2.0 product demo email number 1. You want to make sure that all of your campaigns are very clearly and uniquely labeled. As you add more emails to the sequence, I'm going to show you why, but you want to make sure that they're very clearly labeled with number 1, number 2, number 3, because that's how you're going to be able to differentiate them in the drop-down menu. You're going to choose your folder that it lives in. So again, I focus on customer marketing. You can do your subject. This is a test. You can choose your name, and this is where it's cool. So depending on what your objective is, let's say you want to create brand recognition or name recognition. You can have it be coming from your company, or you can have it be coming from a salesperson, SDR, BDR, AE, any of them. So let's say I have an AE, I have an SDR, his name is John Smith. I'm going to send these emails from John Smith so that they look like they're coming from an actual person, and that person creates some name recognition so that when they call or when they follow up with an email, maybe you'll give them your business. You never know. You can have the from address be from something generic. You could have it be from John Smith's email. Same thing with the reply to. This is handy if you wanted to get your salespeople more involved in the process. I tend to do that depending on the campaign. If it's a campaign directly affecting customers and being like, oh, you have to upgrade or you have to buy this new product, I might have it be coming from an actual salesperson versus the company itself. So again, you can have them involved, or you can just have them be sent to your marketing or personal email so you can filter them out yourself. You click next. So Sugar Market has a bunch of different templates you can actually use for your emails. It depends on what kind of business you have. If it's B2C, maybe you want to add in some products or, use a more visually appealing one. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to go with one of my templates that I have. Again, you can use a code. If you have it, you've already built out the emails, you could just pop in the source code, but for this, I'm just going to add in a really generic template. Basically, I'm just going to brand it with my company's logo, and it's just going to be a content-based email. So again, you're probably familiar with this, but you can just personalize it a little bit with some tags. Hello, first name, this is a test email, regards, Heather. We're going to delete that. And once you save it, you can preview it. Looks pretty good. We're going to complete it, and it's going to automatically exit you out and drop it back into the campaign. So this is where you want to focus on your personalization, because when you add it to the campaign, all of your subsequent steps and conditional elements have to match up with this campaign right here. So what I mean by that is we're going to click OK. And so what we have so far is they've downloaded something, we've waited a day, they send an email. So next thing I want to do is I want to know whether or not their email is actually valid, because if it's invalid, I don't want a bad email to be going through this nurture. So this is where the conditional element for email delivered comes in. Email delivered basically is what it says. We want to know whether or not the email was delivered. And so because this is a conditional element, this is where the different colored arrows are going to come in. So we have yes and no. The check obviously means yes, the X means no. So these are important because these conditional elements show what happens should one condition be met versus another. So for this one, we want to know what happens when an email is not delivered. So for this one, if an email is not delivered, I'm going to want to alert somebody that the email that they provided was bad, and so maybe they can fix that. So what I'm going to do is when it comes to being delivered, if it's not delivered, we're going to alert someone using the alert user widget, and then that's going to take them out of the nurture. You have to physically take them out of the nurture, which is down here. This next part is also important when it comes to alerting people. So you actually have to build an email template to alert the user. And how you do this is we're going to go back to Sugar Market. You're going to go to the menu, create, campaign, email builder 2.0. And then this is going to be super, super easy. Basically, we're going to make this an activity alert for Nurture 2.0 demo. We're going to put this in customer marketing as with the rest. And then this one, you're just going to do a subject. So the subject is going to be something generic like invalid email for prospect. And I'm going to actually have this come from me because I want to be a little bit more involved in the process. So this way when I alert my SDR or BDR or AD that an email is invalid, they can respond to me and let me know when they've updated it so that I can re-enter them into the nurture. And again, this is where it comes in handy that you can, in the basic setup of the nurture, you can actually have someone go through the nurture more than once. So you're going to click next. You're going to choose your template. I just do a fun little template for my associate who usually deals with the leads. Just because this isn't going to a contact, so I like to keep it light, airy. One of the emails in the Nurture 2.0 demo is invalid. Please update and let me know when it's ready. Thank you. And I don't need 2 mailing addresses. Click save. And you're not going to click next. This is the important thing. You're going to click save as a template. And down here, this is an alert template. So once it's saved as an alert template, it will auto-populate into the nurture. So we're going to do this as an invalid email activity alert. And you can do your campaign name, Nurture 2.0 demo. Located in same folder as always, and there is an invalid email. Okay, and voila, that one's all set. So we can leave that. We can go back to this alert user. You're going to go toggle, click select an email template. So this is the one that I just made, invalid email activity. As you can see, I've tried making this demo several times. That's why there's all of these demo alerts, but this is the one that I just made. You can choose a user, so this is where you would incorporate your SDR or BDR or salesperson that you actually want to alert, whoever owns the account. So for this one, it's going to be my colleague. Enter a subject, and email is invalid. And this way, whenever somebody goes through the nurture but their email is not valid, it's going to alert your SDR and it will take them out of the nurture, which means you will have to physically add them back in, but at least by then you'll know that the email you're working with is actually valid. Okay, so now we're going to do what happens if it is delivered. So if it is delivered, I want to know whether or not it's opened. So it is delivered, yes. Now we're going to see if it's opened. If it is opened, I want to know whether or not they clicked it. So I want to see what the engagement's like. So it was delivered, it was opened. Now I want to see the click. If it's not opened, I might have them wait 4 days, and then I'll send them the next email. So if it's not opened, we'll just pause them and we're just going to continue them down the nurture. But if it is clicked, here's the fun thing. You can do so many different things with this. So you can add them to a new nurture, you can alert somebody so they can reach out, or you can send them a follow-up email customized just for people who click. There's so many different things that you can do. For this one, I'm going to alert the SDR. So it was clicked. I'm going to alert my SDR and let her know that somebody has clicked, and so she should maybe make a few phone calls and follow up. So for this one, it would be the same thing where you have to create a brand new email template. I'm not going to do that right now because I've already shown you how to do it, but that's where you would create the template, let her know, enter a subject like, please follow up with this lead, something like that. And then I want to take them out of the nurture because I feel that personal follow-up would be really valuable for that lead. The other route you can go is if it doesn't get opened, you can pause it for a couple of days and then send them the next email. So that's when it keeps going down the nurture. So this means they waited 4 days and they're going to get the next email. Again, you have to build the email builder. So you'll have to create a brand new email again. It might be easy just to do the codes if you wanted to create the email in the email builder, then just copy the source code, but I like to make life difficult for myself, so here we go. This is going to be the last email that I actually build for you on this demo, but I just wanted to show you why it's so important that we give your emails a unique name. We're going to put this in customer marketing again, test number 2. I'll just keep it for me this time, I don't care. Do the next. Again, template. We'll send this one. Next. Complete. Great. So this is number 2. Okay, so we're just gonna, the other cool thing you can do is you can actually copy elements. So you can duplicate these if you want. And this is kind of the way you want everything to go. So you would just hit copy and it saves it as a clipboard element, which is kind of cool. So instead of having to remake all of those lines and elements, you just drag the clipboard copy down here and it'll automatically populate. So then you just have to draw the lines, if yes, if no, and show what happens next. So connect, etc. So that's kind of cool. But the thing I want to show you, and this is going to be kind of the last thing that I'm going to do for this, is the toggle labels. So these are really important so that you can validate your nurture. So if you see down here, the IDs, this is going to correlate to your email that you're actually sending and what the campaign is. So because this is an action element, you can see the ID, but you want to make sure that all of your conditional elements are reflective of the action element that's kind of the umbrella for that aspect of the sequence. So over here, I did not set it up so that this deliverance is reflective of this email campaign. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the 3 dots in the upper left corner, go over to settings, and you have to choose the email that you want to check. So this is where it becomes important that you label with the number 1 and give them distinct names. That way you can tell them apart. The other way you can do it is if you check the ID numbers. So this one's 341, this one's 341, that's good. That means that this one is correlated to this one. The same thing here, because it's a conditional element. We'll give this 2 days. Because it's a conditional element, you just want to make sure that it's reflective of the action element. Same thing here. Okay, we'll wait 2 days for them to click. Voila. Oh, one more thing. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but the cool thing about the link element is that you can, if you have multiple links or multiple products in the email that you're sending, you can choose specific links that you actually want to track. So obviously I didn't do a link in the email I provided, but if I had, it will have a drop-down menu of all the links that you actually included in your email, and you can choose which ones you actually want to track, which is kind of handy if you're promoting multiple things. So you see, this is ID 341, 341, 341, 341, all set, and then you come down here. Now you see this changes. So this one's 343 now, which means that everything after here has to reflect the 343 because that is the new umbrella action element. So now we get to email 2. Again, this is why it's so important that you have unique names to your campaigns. Because that way it's easier to pull down. You can revalidate down here, but it's just easier if you do it right in the first place. We'll choose number 2 one more time. We'll wait 2 days, and voila. And then I'm not going to build a third email right now, so we're just going to end the nurture right now. So you put the nurture down here. When it's finally done, you just want to make sure all of the elements, if they don't click, we're just going to end the nurture. If they do click, let's do a pause, and then we'll end the nurture. The other important thing you should know about conditional elements is that where there's a plus, there also has to be a minus. So you have to account for all the different paths it can take. So you can't just have one X and have that be it. That's why I had to add a check here, because when I go to validate the nurture, it's going to tell me when there's problems. So for instance, I validated this nurture, so now there's all of these errors. So we're going to go in and we're going to fix them. This one's an error because I didn't say amount of time. We're going to choose days. That one's all set. Validate. That one's done now. This one, all of these have to be unique. Okay, so this user, we're just going to do that. We'll choose someone. That one's all set. Okay, so once you go to validate it, it's going to give you all the errors. So I'm just going to walk you through a couple of these alerts. For this one, email open 1, sub connections must be unique. So this stems from the link click. So there's actually no link in this email that I sent. So it's telling me that this link click isn't needed because the link doesn't exist. So that was my bad. I just wanted to show you how to do it. But this is going to be really good for you to see how to actually fix the alerts when it comes to validating your nurture. So we're going to trash these 2 elements because they don't exist, which means that this, because I don't have a check, this conditional element isn't right anymore either. So I'm just going to trash that, move the pause up, and connect this down here. So now my workflow is valid. When you click to validate, it's going to say valid, boom, you can go on to next. Make sure you save things as you go. And lastly, you're just going to choose your lists. So you can choose your reports, how you want to segment it, any of that. You're just going to drag them over to include. So you would include this here. You would drag any that you don't want to talk to over here, and then you'd click next. Okay, lastly, you can choose which days you actually want to send the emails. So you can uncheck Saturday and Sunday if you don't want to send them on the weekends. You can throttle them so they only send out in batches at a time, and then you can import a blackout calendar. So you can add a calendar or add dates or just upload them. So let's say you don't want to have emails go out during Thanksgiving. You click add and boom, Thanksgiving is now blacked out. So very convenient, and that's how you would do it. You would click publish once it's ready, and that is Sugar Nurture 2.0. I'm Heather from Braincell, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.